Okay, so have you seen these headlines lately about California and like all this crazy stuff with fire insurance?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's really wild, and I think we all kind of see the headlines. Wildfires are getting worse, and then all of a sudden insurance companies are like, "Oh, we're out of here. We can't deal with California anymore."
Yeah, and what does that mean for the people who actually live there,
Right.
who own homes there?
Exactly. And so that's what we're going to dig into today. And full disclosure, we had a bunch of research articles you sent over.
Yeah, some really good in-depth pieces.
Yeah. So this is not just us, shooting from the hip.
No, no, no.
We're gonna unpack all that for you and try to make some sense of this whole mess.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me, and just jumping right into it, is that this isn't just a California problem.
Right.
This is like a warning sign for everybody
Yeah.
about what happens when climate change.
When climate change and, just the way the insurance industry works when those two things collide.
It's like we always talk about how climate change is going to affect everything, but now we're actually seeing it play out.
Yeah, this is real world stuff.
In a very real way. And I think one of the things from the research that really stuck with me was this story about this family in Paradise, California.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what a name, right? Paradise. And they lost their home in that 2018 Camp Fire.
Just awful.
I mean, that fire was just devastating. You think, okay, losing your home is like the worst thing that could happen.
You would think so, right?
Right.
Like what could be worse than that?
But then on top of that, they had this whole battle with their insurance company.
Right, yeah.
And their payout ended up being like $200,000 short
Wow.
of what they actually needed to rebuild.
So they're in debt now on top of everything else.
I mean, talk about adding insult to injury.
Yeah, it's really heartbreaking.
It's really heartbreaking. And I think what gets me is that feeling of betrayal,
Right.
Like your insurance company, the
Yeah.
thing that's supposed to be there to protect you.
Yeah, like a safety net.
Exactly. It's
Right.
just like vanishes when you need it most.
And you see that over and over again in these articles, people
Yeah.
just feeling like the system's rigged against them.
So like I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the insurance company for a second.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, if they're pulling back, is it just like, are they just being greedy?
Yeah, are they the bad guys here?
Right. Or is there something else going on?
Well, I mean, no one's going to say no to making money, right?
Right.
But it is more complicated than just greed, I think. Like, you
Yeah.
have to remember the whole insurance model is based on risk.
Okay.
And the risk of wildfires in California, it's just through the roof now.
That makes sense.
Like, imagine it like a casino.
Okay.
The insurance company, they usually win, right?
Right.
But suddenly they're in this situation where it's like the wildfires are the high roller.
Oh, I see.
They keep hitting the jackpot, and the insurance companies have to keep paying out these massive claims.
So they're like, we can't keep up with this.
Exactly. And then you add in the fact that reinsurance, which is basically insurance for insurance companies,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's gotten way more expensive too.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a double whammy for them.
Yeah.
Their costs are going up and their payouts are going up even faster.
Okay. So domino effect, total chaos for the insurance companies. But then on the other side, you've got the homeowners.
Right.
And it sounds like they're stuck in this no-win situation.
It really is a tough spot.
Because even if they can find coverage,
The premiums are insane.
like they're getting hit with these sky-high premiums,
In some cases, double or triple what they used to pay.
that's crazy.
It's just not sustainable for a lot of people.
And then what happens if they lose their regular insurance? Like, what are they supposed to do?
Well, that's when they often end up in this thing called the California Fair Plan,
Okay.
which is basically the state's insurer of last resort. So like a backup plan?
Kind of, but it's not really a great solution.
How so?
Well, for starters, it's usually even more expensive than regular insurance,
Oh, come on.
and the coverage isn't as comprehensive.
So you're paying more for less.
Pretty much, it's a Band-Aid solution at best.
So where do we go from here? Like, are there any actual solutions out there?
There are some ideas being tossed around, but it's tricky.
Yeah.
Like one idea is to make insurers provide coverage in high-risk areas, even if they lose money,
Okay.
which would help homeowners, but it might scare off insurers from doing business in California at all.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Another option is to have state-backed insurance pools.
Like a giant group plan or something.
Kind of. It's similar to what Florida has for hurricanes.
Oh, interesting.
And that would spread the risk around, but then you have to figure out who pays for it.
Right, because someone's got to foot the bill.
Exactly. And there's always the risk that it could become inefficient,
Bureaucracy and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a tough one.
It's a real balancing act. You got to protect homeowners, But you also got to acknowledge that climate change is making things a lot riskier.
Exactly. And I think this brings us back to that bigger point.
Okay.
This whole California situation, it's like a canary in the coal mine.
What do you mean?
Well, as climate change gets worse, we're going to see these same insurance problems pop up everywhere.
With other natural disasters?
Exactly. Floods, hurricanes, tornadoes.
It's kind of scary to think about.
It's a wake-up call for the whole world, really.
Yeah, so like how do we create an insurance system that can actually handle all this?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, this is making me think like, okay, what can I do as a homeowner?
Yeah.
Like what steps can I take to reduce my own risk?
Like fire-resistant landscaping or making your home more fire-hardened.
Right, like being proactive instead of just waiting for the worst to happen.
And then there's the question of incentives. Like, how do we encourage people to take those steps?
Right, because let's be honest, doing all that stuff, it's not cheap.
No, it's not. So maybe there need to be some financial incentives from the government or insurance companies.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It is, but I think these are the kinds of conversations we need to be having.
Yeah, and I think this deep dive has given us a lot to chew on.
For sure.
It's a reminder that we can't just rely on the old ways of doing things.
We need to be more proactive and innovative.
Absolutely, and it's going to take all of us working together to figure this out.
I think that's the key takeaway here.
So as you're listening to this, think about your own situation.
Yeah.
What steps can you take to protect yourself and your community?
And how can we push for bigger systemic changes?
Exactly. This is not just a California problem anymore.
It's a global challenge.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.
And stay safe.
Absolutely.